Now, when it comes to actually the day-to-day running of your digital marketing business, there is nothing better than sending out your invoices at the end of the month and getting paid for the work you do. However, there is nothing more frustrating when the clients do not pay on time. But there have been a number of instances over the past couple of years where I have been really disappointed in the fact that clients have not paid me or have not paid me on time. It's one of those things where, first of all, it's to say, I really hope it doesn't happen to you, but to be honest, chances are it will. So all you can do is be prepared for when it does happen. Part of this comes down to qualifying clients, which we've kind of already covered in previous lessons, so that if you feel uncertain about them, you never know, there may be a risk that they are going to disappear without paying you or take an absolute age in order to get round to paying you. The actual amount of time that a client can come back and pay you should be defined in your invoice. However, if they don't pay you within that formally agreed process, then there are a number of things you can do. Now, this information specifically applies to legislation within the UK. It may differ for other countries, but you'd hope there'd be similar schemes out there. Now, first of all, if a client hasn't paid within the defined time that you have given them, it sounds blunt, but immediately follow it up the day after that period expires. There is a feeling in me where you go, oh, I'm really sorry to nudge you on this, but would you mind paying? On the other hand, you think, hang on a sec, I have done the work for you. I have done that work up to this point for free. You have had a defined period of time in which to pay this money and you have not for whatever reason. If the client hasn't and it is a genuine mistake, then they should still have the courtesy and respect to let you know that that money will be delayed. At that stage, hopefully you'll get a positive response and it will be in your bank account very quickly. If not, this is the stage where you need to act. And to be honest, you need to act as a business rather than as a person in this instance. This is really hard and it is a bit of a hard balance because you don't want to upset a client relationship. But at the end of the day, this is how you are making your income. This is how you are going to achieve success. And if a client isn't paying you, then you have every right to demand that money comes along. So from a legal process, if that client doesn't pay you within a defined amount of time, you can automatically charge them two different things. You can charge them interest on the amount of money that they owe you, and you can also charge them a fixed kind of penalty fee. What that amount you can charge for is dependent on the amount of time that has elapsed since they should have paid you and the amount of money you have originally invoiced up front. Now, I will put a link in and that will take you off to HMRC where you can look into this into more detail and go from there and work out what those figures are. Normally, the threat of a late payment fee seems to be enough in a lot of instances to actually get those people to pay up, and you go, great, not a fantastic experience, but ultimately they've given you the money and that's flat. If they still don't pay, then that's where it does get more serious. You can realistically take them to small claims court, but that can take a long period of time. Again, HMRC will point you in the right direction of that. The other thing, which when I went through this experience about 12 months ago, was that, and I didn't realise this, that there are actually companies out there which will kind of do this on your behalf. They are essentially bailiffs, as it were. So they will chase the invoice on your behalf and they take a cut of the money when the client eventually pays up. Unfortunately though, in doing this, this really does sour relationships, and it is something which is really hard because you don't want to cease trading with someone who potentially you have a good relationship with. But ultimately, as I say, you are there to make money. You are there to achieve success. And at the end of the day, you need, it's not a case of that money is just a nice, desirable item to have. You need that money to pay your bills. You need that money to feed your children. So you have to be severe. If they didn't want this situation to arise, then they should have paid you in the meantime. For me and the way I operate with my clients, I invoice for my work once I have done the work. So come the end of the month, literally on the last day of the month, I will send my invoices out, and there is then a 30-day payment term, so another month in which for them to be able to make the payment. Other people, especially people who have been burned in this situation before, do make a point of actually invoicing up front. And personally, that is something I'm thinking about doing. To me, it seemed a little alien because suddenly you're going, well, actually, I'm asking for the money, but I haven't even done the work yet. I've always just traditionally done it when I've done the work and therefore I ask for payment. But ultimately, that can potentially help with cash flow. It's something which you need to investigate and decide on what you feel comfortable with. The most important point of this lesson, though, is that ultimately there are going to be people who won't pay, and there is going to be people who are going to be, for whatever reason, late in paying. But you have to make sure that you have the processes and kind of the planning already sorted out so that when that situation arises, you can act with a degree of efficiency and work out what the best way is to resolve it.